So what do you do when you have an iron that stops working or it's working intermittently? That's what's happening with our iron. It's a couple years old, and this morning when I was trying to iron my clothes, it was going off and on, and then finally it just stopped working. Do we buy a new iron or do we try to fix it? Let's take it apart and find out. Okay, most of the time, the problem is right at the end here. It goes back and forth so much from using it, it actually breaks the wires. So before I buy a new cord, a whole new cord, which I do not think I'm gonna need, I'm gonna get in here, take the bottom of the iron apart, undo the connectors, pull the cord out, snip it back behind this, and then reattach it. If that works, I've just fixed the iron and it hasn't cost any money at all. So let's take this apart and see what it looks like. This is the Torx bit on my particular iron. I'm sure every iron comes apart a little differently, but they all come apart. So just take a look at it. Could be a small Phillips screwdriver head. It could be a Torx bit like this, but usually it's pretty easy to pull that apart. Okay, and you can see here how it just goes down into a brown wire and then a white and a blue. So that's all I'm interested in doing. It doesn't matter which side. I'm gonna take these apart, cut it back, use another wire nut, another connector, and then we'll check it out. Pull that back. You can see here where it's just looks like it's been moving back and forth and maybe broke the wire inside. So I'm going to snip it up a little bit. And then I'm also going to separate the wire so I can tie those other fittings together. So all I have to do now is get in here and strip these back. So I'm just going to use my stripper here. Okay, that's going to go on one side. And so on. Okay, now I have a blue one here to snip. Okay, and then I have this white one here. Okay, everything's stripped. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have to add a little bit of wire there to get that. So I have some bolt wire that I have out in the garage. I will grab that, and I'm gonna have to extend that by cutting it. It's not long enough. No problem though. It's definitely doable, and I'm gonna just have to extend that. So I'll be right back.
Cool.
So I just have some wire. It's about the same gauge, not the same color, but who's gonna be looking inside my iron, right? So I'm just going to strip these. Okay. So I have these crimp fittings here that I use actually on my boat or on the car, and it'll work on this. I'm just gonna slide this in to where it goes in all the way inside. Just wanna make sure that it's a good contact here. Okay, so you push it in all the way, then you use your crimp tool. Okay, it's good there. Put this in the other side. This just gets me down to where I need to be. Okay. Nice and tight. Now these are actually heat shrink. So we're just going to heat shrink these right now, just so that it's nice and tight. And it just will make a nice seal. It won't never come apart. I use these on the boat all the time, and man, it works great. There you go. That's all she wrote right there. So that's a good seal. It's tight, waterproof. You're good to go. So then what we're going to do next, we're going to thread this down through. And they just had like wire nuts on here. I'm just wondering if I shouldn't use the same kind of setup and hooking these together. I think I'm going to. Now again, I'm not an electrician, but that would be I think the safest way to do it possibly. So let me see what I've got. I might have some little wire nuts as well that I can twist them and thread them on. That might be the way to do it as well. So I'll be right back. Okay, so first I'm gonna tie the first wire to the brown. I'm going to take a small wire nut. You can feel it tightening up. That looks good. Then this next one, we're going to tie these three together, and that should be good. Now, if this doesn't work, I'll just go order a new cord, and that'll take care of it, obviously. But I don't think the whole cord is bad. Okay, I've got all three the same length. We're just going to tie these together. And do the same thing. It's a little bit of a tight fit down here because of the length of that bottom wire. Okay, everything seems tight, everything's in there. So what I want to do first, before we go any farther, I want to test it out. So we're going to come over here. So I'm going to plug it in and make sure it works. Okay, so it wasn't that. So that was just a way that I could check that out. See, it's not working. So it must be in the end here. So when looking at this, right where my thumb is, that wire does not look right. So maybe right there, you can kind of see it. Maybe this is shorted out. So because the rest of the wire seems fine. So I'm thinking I'm just going to buy an end and try that. And I think that's going to take care of it. But that does not look right as I'm looking at it right now. See how that doesn't look right? It should be straight like that, and it's not. So I'm thinking that's what it is. So I picked up this new end, and basically this tab right here pulls out, and then you can pull out this inside. So let me try to do this with one hand. It's pretty easy. See, this just pulls out. You hook the wires up to it, slide it back in, slide that back in, it locks into place. So let me do this. Okay, let's see what happens. Look at that. Working great. Nothing shorting out. I think we fixed the problem. So it cost me $4 with tax. It was just under $5 for the end. As you can see, it's working fine. And it was good that we replaced this cord right here at the end because it was getting ready to go. So now we're good to go. I'm gonna put it back together, and this iron project is finished for $5. So now I'm just gonna screw these all back together right here. That cord that holds it from pulling out. That keeps that cord in so this is not gonna pull out. I'm gonna tuck all these wires in, put the cover back on, and I think we're finished. As you can see, $5 for a new end. It was very easy to do. I had to run to the hardware store, so that took about 20 minutes, but I think if I would have had the end, I could have done the whole thing in 20 minutes. $5, the iron's fixed, it's got a new end. Now maybe next time I'll replace the cord because I don't want to make the cord really short every time I repair it, but this will get us by for a few more years. So listen, thank you for joining me on Fix It Warrior today. I hope this helped you, helped save some money, and until next time, God bless you and have a great day.